The round of 8 starts now. Hamlin, Blaney, Larson, Byron, Bell, Elliott, Briscoe, and don't forget about Joey Logano. 3 races, 3 very different track types: Las Vegas, Talladega, and the paperclip. Let's go race by race, driver by driver, and make our updated Championship 4 picks. Say what you will about the one race winner take all championship, getting to the Championship 4 is a huge accomplishment. And typically it rewards the drivers and teams that combine strong regular season performances, playoff points, with late season clutch moments. I think if you look at the all-time Championship 4 appearance leaderboard, it's kind of the who's who of the last 12 years. Obviously, Joey Logano, late season success is at the top, but then it's Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., 3 first ballot future Hall of Famers. Denny Hamlin is in the mix, and then some of these young guns who've come on in the 2020s, the Elliots, the Blaneys, the Larsons, they're starting to creep forward. I think this basically paints the picture of the past 12 years of NASCAR. So making the Championship 4 is a huge accomplishment. Let's talk about which of our final 8 have the best shot at getting to Phoenix this time around. Here's how we're going to do this. As you can see, that far left column, that is the current playoff standings. The points reset, playoff points restacked, Denny Hamlin the leader, Joey Logano currently in the basement. Las Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, I'm going to rank 1 through 8 these playoff drivers at those specific tracks, based on recent stats, recent performance, you name it. And then this final column here on the right is where I will rank these drivers based on recent performance. What have you done for me lately? Then we're going to average out all of these rankings, and that should give you my definitive Championship 4 picks. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, the visual aid should be helpful. Let's begin with this weekend's race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm putting Kyle Larson at the top. In the 7 next-gen Las Vegas races, he has 2 wins, 466 laps led, an impressive 8.7 average finish in that span, and most recently at Kansas. Similar mile-and-a-half layout, same aero package, same tire combination. Larson had top 5 speed most of the day. Kyle Larson at 1. Behind him, give me Denny Hamlin. I mentioned Kansas, great comparison. Hamlin led 159 laps 2 weeks ago and swept the stages. Might have won that race if not for power steering failing on him in the final laps. Then I've got Christopher Bell, who had the best car in this race 1 year ago, but came up just short to Joey Logano, who nailed the fuel mileage. Then William Byron, 6.3 average finish in the 7 Las Vegas next-gen races. Did they find something at Kansas? Started that race way off, but by the end they were battling for a position inside the top 10. Chase Briscoe has 2 wins this year, both at intermediate type tracks. Pocono, Darlington. Toyota was so strong at Kansas 2 weeks ago, I like Chase Briscoe in the 5 spot. Then I have to show some respect to Joey Logano. 12.6 average finish at Las Vegas in this car, not bad. He does have 2 wins, including last year's race, which again came on fuel mileage. I wasn't impressed with the speed at Kansas a couple weeks ago. I think at best he had a 7th to 8th place best car, got damaged, wound up 21st. But Las Vegas has always been one of his best intermediates, qualifying. He started top 10 in 20 of his 24 career Las Vegas starts. Joey at 6, at 7. I know I'll get crap for putting Chase Elliott this low, considering he just won at 1.5 miles 2 weeks ago. But we know he won that race because Alan Gustafson gambled on tires, Chase got a great restart, and the Toyota teammates took each other out. Without those overtime restarts, Chase Elliott finishes 6th or 7th at Kansas. It's still good, but not top 5 worthy. Also, Chase Elliott has the worst Las Vegas next-gen car stats of any Hendrick driver, a 19.5 average finish. At the bottom, I have Ryan Blaney. Team Penske was not as fast as Hendrick or Gibbs at Kansas 2 weeks ago. And at Las Vegas specifically, Ryan Blaney's stats are not great. In the next-gen era, he has a 17th place average start and a 22nd place average finish. Not very impressive. So that's how I rank these 8 at Las Vegas. 1.5 mile intermediate track. Then the series rolls to Talladega. Trying to rank these guys at a super speedway with this car, this package, almost impossible, but I gave it my best shot. Some of these guys at the very bottom were basically inverting it because now I have Ryan Blaney in the top spot. He won the Fall Talladega race in 2023. He won the most recent drafting race at Daytona a few weeks ago, and his teammate Austin Cindric won Talladega this past spring. Now you might expect me to put Joey Logano in the 2-hole, but I actually have Chase Elliott. Again, we're kind of inverting our Las Vegas rankings. Chase Elliott has the third most laps led on drafting tracks this year. He won Atlanta a couple months ago. He's also won the Fall Talladega race back in 2022. This race is all about survival. Chase Elliott has an impressive 13.4 average finish at all drafting tracks in the next-gen era. That's why I have him at 2 and Joey Logano at 3. If I base this list solely off of speed, Joey would be at 1. He's led 228 laps at drafting tracks this year. But if I were to base this solely off finishes, then Joey would probably be 8th. Logano's average finish at drafting tracks this year is 29.8. Sure, he crossed the line top 5 at Talladega in the spring, but they got disqualified for a spoiler violation. That's a pretty big deal. Daytona 500 got into a dogfight with Stenhouse and crashed. Daytona Summer Race, he was battling for the lead, got loose, spun out. We know Joey Logano will be in the mix at Talladega, but can he actually finish one of these races? That has proven difficult for Joey Logano in the next-gen era. His last 3 Talladega fall races, he has an average finish of 28th. Oof. Then I have William Byron, who is the winningest super speedway driver in this car, but none of his 4 wins have come at Talladega. He does have some really strong fall race finishes of 12th, 3rd, 2nd, so I'm pretty confident he'll be in the mix. Hear me out on this next guy, Kyle Larson, 5th. We have seen a new updated version of Kyle Larson at super speedways this year. He's getting stage wins, Cliff Daniels calling good fuel strategy. In the last 6 drafting races, Larson's average finish is 8.7. That's really, really good. Denny Hamlin was one of the greatest drafting drivers in the old car, but those skills have not translated to the new car. He has a 20.1 average finish at drafting tracks in the next-gen era. 0 wins. Fall Talladega has been kind to Denny, however. 3 races, 3 top 10s. I think Hamlin would absolutely take that this time around. Towards the bottom here, Christopher Bell. In 23 drafting races in this car, Toyota only has 2 wins. That's part of why their drivers are down here towards the bottom. Now, Christopher Bell, to his credit, has one of those wins. It was Atlanta earlier this year. It's been rough since then, though. Bell has 3 super speedway finishes this year of 30th or worse. And then at the bottom, I hate to do it to this guy, Chase Briscoe. Yes, he won the pole, finished top 5 in the Daytona 500, but it has been rough ever since. 20th place average finish at drafting tracks this year, and that includes that top 5. The Toyotas have had a hard time working together in these playoffs. Gibbs versus Hamlin versus Bell at New Hampshire, Hamlin, Wallace, Bell battling each other at Kansas, Hamlin upset over lack of communication at the Roval. At super speedways, communication, strategy, and teamwork is key. Can the Toyotas execute a game plan even when things get chaotic at the end of stages and at the end of the race? So there are my Talladega rankings. We've got one more race to rank, Martinsville, a super unique short track. Here is how I rank the remaining playoff drivers. Once again at the top, give me Ryan Blaney. You gotta pick Ryan Blaney, right? He's literally won this race back-to-back years. He has an incredible 4.6 average finish at Martinsville in the next gen. Should be the same tire combination as New Hampshire a couple weeks ago. Ryan Blaney won that race. Blaney at 1, easy pick. At 2, this was tough. Give me Denny Hamlin. He has 5 top 5s at Martinsville in the next gen. He won the spring race. 735 laps led here the past few years is a series high. Then I've got the other Penske driver, Joey Logano, at 3. Logano has never finished outside the top 10 at Martinsville in this car. You gotta respect that Penske short, flat track prowess. Chase Elliott at 4 has led over 500 laps at Martinsville in this car, top 5 in the spring race, maybe had the second best car behind Denny Hamlin. He also won Bowman Gray to start the year. We know Chase is a great short track racer at 5. I remember a couple of years ago, Kyle Larson was like, I can't really figure out Martinsville. Well, since going to Hendrick, he's been superb. 5.4 average finish at this track in this next-gen car. Won the spring race back in 2023. This is a tough ranking because all 8 of these drivers are stellar at Martinsville Speedway. Like, these might be the 8 best Martinsville drivers in the field. These rankings are super, super close. Case in point, I have William Byron ranked 6th. He's won Martinsville twice in the next-gen car. The reason I have him so low is that those are his only top 5s here in the next-gen car, so he's kind of boom or bust. I got Chase Briscoe at 7, and honestly, I might be sleeping on Briscoe here. He has an 8.7 average finish at this track in the next-gen era, but remember, most of those races were with Stuart Haas. Now he's in a Joe Gibbs Racing car. Sky's the limit. Someone had to be 8th on this list. It's insane that Christopher Bell dropped this low. He literally won this race in 2022 to advance to the championship 4. He knows pressure. Just shows you how tight this competition is. I've got Bell at the bottom because in the next-gen car, he has the worst Martinsville average finish of this group. He also has the fewest top 10s here of this group. And while Bell was good at New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, similar short flat track, he wasn't his usual dominant self. I've got some questions about the Toyotas going into this race. But there we go. Okay, so I've shown you the points because that matters coming in. Hamlin has an advantage over, Elliott, Briscoe. Logano is at a huge points disadvantage. We've ranked Las Vegas, Talladega, and now Martinsville. I'm sure you're already clacking away in the comments, shouting at me for overlooking someone or something. But these are my rankings. This is how I would place them. Finally, what have you done for me lately? I am a believer in momentum. I get that it's not really scientific. Call me superstitious. I'm a believer. For this final category, I'm going to refer back to my power rankings that I did just a few days ago. I do these every week, and it's always based on recent performance. So if I look back at my Tuesday power rankings, this is how the 8 drivers stack up. I had Bell at the top because in the last 5 races, he's finished no worse than 7th. Super fast, super consistent. Then I had Chase Briscoe, who's finished no worse than 14th in these playoffs thus far. Ryan Blaney at 3, he's led multiple laps at every single playoff race, a variety of tracks. Kyle Larson finished 7th, 6th, and 2nd in the round of 12. He's at 4. Chase Elliott recently got a win. He has 3 top 5s in the last 6 weeks. Denny Hamlin's down a bit because he can be kind of inconsistent. When they're on, they're on. See, Kansas dominated. But like Bristol, they missed it. New Hampshire, maybe a little bit off. I've got Joey Logano at 7 because, while he was really good at the short tracks, Bristol, Gateway, New Hampshire, 20th and 21st at Kansas and the Roval. Not great. And then I have William Byron 8th. They're getting decent finishes, but he's not led a single lap in these playoffs. I'm not seeing championship caliber speed from the 24 bunch. So what have you done for me lately? These are how I ranked the top 8 in my power rankings earlier this week. So now, I hope you've enjoyed following along because I'm having a blast doing this. Now we are going to average out all 5 of these categories. The points category, Vegas, Dega, Martinsville, power rankings, recency bias. We're going to average out these rankings, and this should give me my championship 4. Ryan Blaney had the lowest average. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. Oh, we got ourselves a tie between Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott. And then Byron, Logano. Man, I hate seeing Chase Briscoe at 8, but math is math, I suppose. We need a tiebreaker for Elliott and Bell. I could flip a coin, but actually what I'm going to do is refer back to my original playoff predictions from 6-7 weeks ago, where I picked Christopher Bell to make the championship 4. I did not have Chase Elliott getting out of this round originally. I'll stick with that. I'll stand by my pre-playoff prediction. So that gives Bell my tiebreaker. We could be in for another hectic, frantic Martinsville Speedway finish if these averages are any indication. So my updated championship 4 picks, as you can see, Blaney, Hamlin, Larson, Bell. It's going to be tough for Chase Elliott to make up a 14-point deficit going in. Same could be said for Briscoe. Joey Logano, the one advantage Joey Logano does have that these others don't, I'm not sure he's points racing this weekend. I think he goes into Las Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, every single race is a must win. That will empower Joey Logano and Paul Wolfe to gamble, to make bold strategy calls, knowing that they have nothing really to lose. Points don't really matter. They can go for the win. That's what allowed them to make the championship four in this race 1 year ago. Perhaps it could be done again. I don't think the 22 has the pure speed to make it to the next round. It's going to take flawless execution and or great strategy calls, a break or two go their way. It could happen for sure, but I'm not predicting it. These are my championship four, my updated predictions. I had Blaney winning the championship when the playoffs began. I'm sticking with that because if he gets to Phoenix, I think he'll be favored there, as good as Penske was at New Hampshire recently, as good as they've been at Phoenix in recent years. I still like my Team 12 championship pick. Denny Hamlin, if he makes it, this would be his first championship four appearance in the next gen era. He went to a bunch at the end of the Gen 6, hasn't been back since. Bell gets some redemption after a tiebreaker / penalty knocked him out at the end of last year's playoffs. Gonna be fascinating to see how these teams take on the next 3 weeks. Leave a comment down below. Who's your championship for? Do you agree with my rating system or not? Let me know. Tried something a little different, but I hope you enjoyed following along at home. Speaking of different, last week I debuted a Jobs in Racing interview segment. This is kind of a spin-off of that. Elgin track sweepers could be considered a silent superstar. We see the sweepers on track every weekend, maybe take it for granted, but there's a lot that goes into these machines, both technologically and from a human power standpoint. So let's invite someone from Elgin onto the show now to talk a little more in depth about one of NASCAR's most crucial safety vehicles. I am joined today by the Elgin product manager, Noah Barron. Noah, it's great to see you. People see the track sweeper every race, multiple times a race usually. It seems like something everyone kind of just takes for granted. It shows up to the track, it does its job. But why is track sweeping, why is that role so important on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, so I would basically make it the same as like your grounds crew at a baseball diamond or a golf course or something of that nature, right? So the trucks are there to basically provide the optimal racing surface for the weekend, basically, right? Because they'll start early in the week and they'll go, all the way up until the end of the race until everyone starts to leave. But they're there to not only keep it dry, but remove material from it and just try to give the cars basically the best surface possible for the race.
I look at the Elgin sweeper when I'm at the racetrack. It's a heavy duty piece of machinery. Is there anything about that sweeper specifically that's like different or customized for racing specifically?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So the track sweeper itself is a very highly modified version of what you would see in your neighborhood, right? So, outside of normal streets, you have the banks to deal with. You have a pretty good surface, so we can do a little bit more in terms of our technology of being able to go a little faster because the surface is a little bit, better. There's no bumps like you would see on the street. So, it's basically a very purpose-built machine for tracks with banks and a little bit higher speeds. So with the track surface being so flat, we can be very efficient at picking up material and even go faster. That's why you normally see sweepers on your normal street going slow because they have to account for the changes in the, the crowning of the road and all of that. So like we won't take those track sweepers into the parking lot and go sweep the parking lot. Sometimes they will, but for the most part, they're very designed for, like an airport runway or the actual track surface, just because of how I'll say perfect the surface is for that.
They're sealed to the ground, almost like real NASCAR cars can be sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The brooms on it are the poly brooms, just to be a little bit more gentle on there. We have an air blast nozzle on the side that helps move the debris off the apron into the grass. It's going to be able to pull water off the track for some of those more wet events. The way I look at our NASCAR track sweepers is much like their automotive manufacturer would do is, it's kind of like a proving grounds, right? So it's a type of environment where you're pushing your product to the limit. So a lot of the things that, the feedback we get and some of the new ideas we have in terms of implementing into like our municipal fleets of sweepers, can really kind of start by some of the conversations we have with our drivers at NASCAR and seeing how it's used in that application.
And I don't know how much you travel specifically, but for the whole team that manages these track sweepers, like what is that schedule? How big of a grind is a full season of NASCAR?
Yeah, so the driver of the actual sweeper is also the semi-driver for moving the equipment from race to race. Wow. So they'll actually load it onto their trailer at the end of the race, and they'll start driving it, pretty much through the night to the next location. So when you're talking about like specifically this season, you could be going there was one where they're going to Mexico City and then they're heading all the way up to the West Coast and then all the way to the East Coast, then back, so they're on the road awful lot. And then once they get to the track, then, they kind of switch hats a little bit and start doing their on track jobs. So yeah, they're gone from their families a very long time. They're, they're not necessarily coming in for the weekends, they're pretty much 7 days a week.
Yeah. And to be fair, though, the Elgin track sweeper is not always behind the scenes. It's very much in front of the fans, in front of the grandstands. I've seen folks sharing their photos of the sweeper as it's going around or when it's parked and they're up close to it because it does stand out. It's got a cool, flashy wrap on it and everything. So how can fans continue to showcase and share the sweeper on social media?
Sure. So we actually have a program that you can tag and say, take a picture of it and say, track that sweeper, and you can actually win some Elgin prizes by doing that. But I would recommend that if you're at the track and you're at the pits, go up and talk to the guys. They love talking to people about the equipment. When I first started here, I had no idea how much complexity went into these machines, right? You kind of just look at them and say, oh, it's just another piece of equipment, but they are highly sophisticated machines. So, just go say hi, talk to them when they're driving by the track, give them a wave, they absolutely love it. And yeah, if you want to learn more about the individual machines themselves, obviously elginsweeper.com is a good place to go as well.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, great to learn more about the folks that help make NASCAR go round and round every single week. Noah, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time here on the show. It was great to meet you, and hope to see you at the track again sometime soon.
Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you to Noah for stopping by. Appreciate you giving that a listen. That's going to do it for this episode, folks. Have a great rest of your week, a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Sunday night after Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Take care, y'all.